Tonight, we're making a savory, low-carb, keto-friendly Salisbury steak with mushroom gravy. Have you ever wondered what the difference is between Salisbury steak and regular hamburger? They almost both look the same. Well, typically, Salisbury steak has more filler ingredients such as breadcrumbs, sauces, and onions in the meat. Hamburger, on the other hand, just has salt and pepper. But our Salisbury steak is keto-friendly, so we won't be adding any breadcrumbs to ours tonight. Another unique ingredient of Salisbury steak is Worcestershire sauce. Try to say Worcestershire sauce 10 times really fast, and chances are you'll get tongue-tied. Worcestershire sauce is even mispronounced often when you only say it one time slowly, so. Originally developed in Worcester, England 147 years ago, Worcestershire sauce is a key ingredient in Salisbury steak. If you still have a hard time saying Worcestershire sauce correctly, just break it down into 3 pieces. Worcestershire. Repeat it a few times and I'm sure you'll get it. Salisbury steak has an interesting history all of its own. Originally developed by Dr. James Salisbury in 1888, Dr. Salisbury was one of the first proponents of the low-carbohydrate diet. As a matter of fact, 100 years before the South Beach diet or the Atkins diet or keto diet ever came along, the Salisbury diet was the weight loss fad of its time. Dr. Salisbury promoted the Salisbury diet to his patients to help them lose weight. Who knew? Well, even if you're not on the keto diet, our Salisbury steak recipe is very good. We're combining ground beef with pork, onions, fresh parsley, eggs, seasoning, Dijon mustard, and of course our special ingredient, Worcestershire sauce. We'll top it with a gravy made from mushrooms, butter, beef broth, and sour cream. Who remembers TV dinners back when they were a kid? Salisbury steak was the #1 seller of TV dinners back when there were only 3 stations on the television. So join us tonight as we take that trip down memory lane. It's Salisbury steak with mushroom gravy in the kitchen tonight. It's going to be delicious, so stick around and we'll show you how we make it. My name is Mark Phillips. I've been in the food and beverage business for over 30 years. Throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to be in over 10,000 kitchens from around the world. Each week, I travel to a different city and get the opportunity to call on some of the most amazing chefs in the industry. The Kitchen of Chef Mark is a channel dedicated to showing you how you too can make fine dining, restaurant quality food right in your own home. We'll travel together, we'll cook together, and we'll have some fun along the way. Welcome to the Kitchen of Chef Mark. Now let's get cooking. Tonight we're making a delicious and savory, low-carb, keto-friendly entree, Salisbury steak with mushroom gravy. We're taking ground chuck, ground pork, seasonings, herbs, eggs, Dijon mustard, and Worcestershire sauce, and cooking them in a cast iron skillet with extra virgin olive oil, and making a gravy with butter, almond flour, beef broth, and sour cream. Here's what you'll need to make this awesome tasting recipe. A ½ pound of ground chuck and a ½ pound of ground pork. A ½ teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. 2 sprigs of chopped parsley. 2 eggs. A ½ chopped yellow onion. A ½ teaspoon of Dijon mustard. 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. For the gravy, we'll need 6 ounces of sliced white mushrooms, a ½ chopped yellow onion, 2 cups of beef broth, 1 teaspoon of almond flour, a ½ cup of sour cream, and 2 pieces of cold butter. In a large bowl, add in the ground chuck and ground pork. Then mix the onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper together and add those into the bowl too. Add in the Worcestershire sauce, chopped parsley, the 2 eggs, Dijon mustard, and the onions, and combine the ingredients together into the meat. We're using a wooden spoon here. You can use your hands if you want to. Form the meat mixture into 8 oval-shaped patties and set them onto a plate. Preheat the oven to 170 degrees. We'll use the oven to keep the Salisbury steaks warm once they are cooked. Pour a few tablespoons of olive oil into a cast iron skillet and turn the heat up to medium. Cook the patties on medium to medium-high heat for about 5 to 6 minutes per side. Then set them onto a pan with aluminum foil and place them into the oven to stay warm while we make our gravy. Add a few pieces of butter into the skillet and let it melt. Then add in the onions and the mushrooms. Give them a stir. Season with salt and pepper and a pinch of paprika, and saute them for about 10 minutes until they're golden brown. Add in the almond flour and cook for another few minutes, and then add in the beef broth. Give it a stir and simmer for 5 more minutes. Add in the sour cream, parsley, and a few pieces of butter, and give the gravy a stir with a whisk. The gravy was a bit too thin, so we decided to add in a teaspoon of cornstarch to help thicken up the gravy a bit. Put the patties back into the gravy, let them come up to temperature with the gravy for about a minute, and you're ready to serve. And now it's time to plate our dish. And there it is, low-carb, keto-friendly Salisbury steak with mushroom gravy. Ground beef and pork seasoned with herbs and spices, Dijon mustard, and Worcestershire sauce. Topped with a savory gravy made from butter, onions, mushrooms, beef broth, and sour cream. It was delicious. Until next time, bon appetit.